is an NBC News special report.
We are coming on the air with breaking news this morning. President Trump announcing on Fox News, on the show Fox and Friends, that a suspect is now in custody. The shooter, believed to be the shooter in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We have NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky on the ground in Utah. He is there on site. Morgan, thank you very much for being with us. President Trump saying about this person of interest. What exactly do we know so far? Why are officials confident they have the right person?
That is a question we hope to ask here in a press conference, Savannah, in about 45 minutes in this very building behind me. And we know that FBI Director Kash Patel will be in attendance. It was just hours ago, late last night, that authorities released new video that certainly contributed to bringing this person into custody. And in the president's interview, he said some things that were very telling that we're going to be hopefully following up on to gain some clarity, saying that someone close to this person of interest recognized them either from the images or the video that had been released, and then reached out to the father of that individual, who then in turn, according to the president now, convinced this person to join them, and they went to a U.S. Marshal. Now, that is how, if I'm hearing the president correctly, he's laying kind of the timeline of events here. And that would certainly be a best case scenario in that there was no resistance, especially, from an armed standpoint, with this person being brought into custody. Authorities have been very tight-lipped, either from keeping their cards close to the vest or simply because they didn't know very much about this person other than the images and the video that they shared. In this press conference, where we hope to learn more, we do know that state investigators will also be there. They've been working hand in hand with federal investigators since this shooting took place. In fact, I've been told that more than 100 law enforcement personnel have been kind of scouring the scene and the area and have been on the case to try to track down this person. But the governor making it very clear last night that the public was vital here. They needed the public's help, and it led them to conducting more than 200 interviews and fielding thousands of tips, and certainly all of those combined have led to this person now being brought into custody. The president saying that he believes with a high degree of certainty that this individual is the person who fired that fatal shot, killing Charlie Kirk in broad daylight, with thousands of witnesses in attendance as he visited this campus, Utah Valley University, the first stop in what was supposed to be a nationwide tour. Now, earlier investigators had painted a grim timeline from surveillance footage where they spotted this individual arrive on campus at 11:52 a.m. and then using other camera angles, they were able to follow this person through stairwells and up onto a roof, where they say he stretched out in a prone position, and then at around 12:20, just a few minutes after Charlie Kirk began fielding questions from the crowd, they say he fired a single fatal shot that struck Kirk in front of the crowd. Now, we do know that Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital, but passed away soon after. As for the next steps of the person who pulled the trigger, that video showed them leaping off the building, and that was one of the videos released late last night. Guys?
And Morgan, it seems like one of the videos that made a big difference, knowing that somebody who seems to be familiar with the suspect is actually who alerted authorities. Morgan Chesky in Utah for us. Thank you so much. I want to bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom has been all over this. You actually have some new information for us this morning.
Yeah, Savannah, so it is, as authorities described, an individual in their early 20s, 22 years old, from Utah, the person that is now in custody, believed to be the person who is the suspect. This individual, apparently a family member, saw the photos that have been put out there, the same photos that we're looking at right now, saw those photos, confronted their son, and then called police. At that point, he was taken into custody, and right now is in the process of, they're obviously trying to talk to him. We don't know if they're talking to him, but to recap again, this suspect in the early 20s, 22 years old, from Utah, is is in custody right now, believed to be the suspect after a family member saw the photos that we've been looking at now for the last 24 hours or so, confronted their son and said, look, effectively, is this you? And at that point, there's a point where he's turned into police, and that's where the investigation stands. I think soon we'll be able to report to you a name on this individual. Obviously, we're in the process of starting to pour over social media accounts, LinkedIn pages, all that type of stuff to try and determine if anything's been posted by this person over the last several days, anything that could point to a motive. Sometimes people leave writings behind. Rarely they leave a manifesto behind. That'll all be part of the investigation. But to confirm the news that the President of the United States said himself, just in the last 20 minutes or so, it appears there's been obviously a major breakthrough here.
Absolutely. Tom Winter confirming that news for us. Again, an announcement that the president had made just a moment ago on Fox News. There is now a suspect in custody. New details there from our Tom Winter in his early 20s and turned in by someone who actually knew him. That information coming, of course, after that video and photos were put out of a suspect, a person of interest here. There's much more coverage ahead on our streaming channel, NBC News Now, and online at NBCnews.